Kia ora, everyone. This is Future Focused, Fill the Gap. I think just quickly before we start, we will just give some background into what we're trying to do with these pieces. So it won't only just feature myself and Lauren. Well, probably largely feature me, but Lauren will be a big portion of it. What we're really trying to do is support the sector, and we're really trying to make sure we continue to build opportunities to bring value around understanding some nuances within our sector, and because there are pieces that can frustrate communities and frustrate whānau and things like that. So we want to make sure we're bringing and adding light to that. And I think, Lauren, you're a good piece to that with your background and knowledge and also your coverage across all our centres. So welcome, Lauren.
Thanks.
Today, I think it's quite timely. We're going to have a yarn about illness.
Perfect timing.
So illness is obviously always a hindrance within our sector. However, it's something that we really do take quite seriously. And in my time in primary school, we were as serious as we are in ECE. It's just that children are a bit more robust in an ECE setting, in a primary school setting. And obviously, the older they get, the more tougher, I guess, they get in those spaces. But just give us a little bit of background on some of that, on that illness space from your point of view, Lauren.
From mine, I think it's tricky. It's a balancing act, if I'm being honest, between keeping all of the other children and all the teachers in the space safe, but also caring for and looking after the unwell children. But balancing act between trying to take it from the parent perspective, if the child's been off and unwell, for an extended period of time, that puts a lot of pressure on families, and that's really hard, especially if they're under 2, because their needs are a lot more demanding for the parent at home. So it's not as easy as I'm just going to work from home because little Johnny can sit in front of the TV because he's unwell. They still need that care, that attachment, that all their care routines still need to happen.
Yes.
Whereas for a slightly older child, they are, again, like you said, a little bit more robust and resilient. They are also still more dependent. So you can kind of get away with that.
The ability to take your 7-year-old to work versus taking your 18-month-old to work is a completely different piece as well. But I think we've got to start by saying it is not our intention to send as many children home as we possibly can.
No.
Never. The only way we build value with you and with your child is by them being with us. So I think that's an important piece to talk about. The second thing is some of the adherence that we operate with and where we get guidance for the pieces that we build and flesh out our policies. I think that's important. So the first thing is coming off the back of COVID, there is no doubt in my mind that what we are seeing in the realms of sickness has intensified incredibly.
Absolutely.
Last year, Gastro and hand, foot and mouth were just... hand, foot and mouth is the new chicken pox.
And RSV.
Oh, and RSV, yes, sorry. RSV as well. To the point that on Monday, Courtney and I received a call from a parent that said they had run out of amoxicillin at their pharmacy, and the other one they went to, they were running low on amoxicillin. If that's not enough of an indication of them how much sickness is about, then I think we must weigh up these situations all the time. So going back, we don't want to send children home. It's not in our best interest to send children home. We want to look after them and love and care for them and work with them in their educational space. But there comes a point where we do have to send them.
Yeah.
What are some of those points there that we just, and might not be relative to the sector, but it's certainly relative to Future Focus.
Yep, absolutely. So, like you said before, the ones that are really prominent are hand, foot and mouth, RSV and Gastro. You can't deny any of those symptoms. So as soon as they kind of present themselves, particularly hand, foot and mouth and under 2s, it's incredibly contagious. As soon as they get one blister, that's it. They have to be either seen by a doctor or sent home until the blisters have dried and aren't contagious for them to be able to return into the sector. And the reason for that is to protect all of the other children and the teachers in the space.
And guys, we have actually seen, last year, we had teachers getting hand, foot and mouth.
It's really dangerous for adults.
I'd actually never seen an adult get hand, foot and mouth. We actually saw that happen.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it is extremely contagious. And just to support some of these spaces, the blisters, where do they tend to appear? Just so we're aware for some of our newer whānau.
For most of the children, it appears on their fingertips. Some of them on the palms of their hands, but 9 times out of 10 it's the fingertips and the ends of your toes and the balls of your feet. But sometimes it can only be presented in the mouth. So you've got to be really aware of if your child is off kai, their food, or they're not wanting to drink their bottles or their water. That can be a sure sign too, and that they blister just inside the mouth.
So I think it's worth talking about RSV because I know Tauranga. I can only really talk to Tauranga because we obviously live here, but Tauranga Hospital really got hammered last year with RSV. In fact, we actually had a father who was part of our organisation, Future Focus Dad. He was in intensive care for RSV. So that's a respiratory issue. It has become more and more prominent. It certainly
Since
is.
COVID for sure.
Since COVID for sure.
Yeah.
We're not going to assume for our reasonings. We don't need to comment on that, but it's certainly, all we can tell you is it's certainly become more prominent.
Yeah, absolutely. So the signs for RSV are cold and flu symptoms to begin, but then they go downhill quite quickly. A temperature is a sure sign. A temperature comes with everything, though. You get a temp with hand, foot and mouth, RSV, COVID, all of it.
Yes.
9 times out of 10 with vomiting and diarrhea as well.
Yes.
So if your child's got a temp, then you don't know what they're coming down with, but it could be quite contagious.
And then we go to the gift that keeps on giving is gastro.
Yeah.
So gastro. Yeah, I think I remember Lane, who's one of our team members, like she got smashed with it. I think she might have got 6 gastro bugs within a 6 to 8 month window. It's horrendous. The symptoms are pretty clear, right?
Yep. Yeah. You can't deny it.
Yeah.
Vomiting, diarrhea.
Now, we personally, as a organisation, after 2 loose bowels, we generally ring unless it's something that is related to a child that we know about.
Yep.
And to help us, like if you've realised that you've changed something or in your diet, or if you're breastfeeding and there's something you've eaten that you haven't quite reacted quite nicely to, and then baby gets it, like tell us up front, because then we're aware of it, and we can make better judgment on it. But I know as a blanket rule, we do 2 loose bowels as an indication, and if there's a vomit, then
it's 1 in home.
Yes, it's 1 in home, and it is a 48-hour stand out, and I think part of the understanding around that is also knowing that we also enforce that on our staff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a blanket rule across the board.
It's a blanket rule. It's a blanket because we're actually required by the Ministry of Health to report it as well. Cameron, who is our Ministry of Health rep, he is a bit of a super genius on this stuff, and they actually have the power to shut us down if we don't take the necessary steps. So,
but that's for any illness. That's not just for gastro. That comes with hand, foot, and mouth. But
that's the prominent one that people kind of underestimate, but
absolutely.
that can really wreak havoc.
Because it often recirculates.
Yes,
and I think that's the hardest bit with gastro. Is its recirculation.
Some of the things we do to try and combat this. So we have regular cleaning schedules. We use a diluted bleach.
Yep.
So a bleach spray that is not harmful in terms of to skin and abrasions and things, but it has enough bleach in it to actually kill the germs and do some damage to that space. We're wiping down common areas,
high touch
surfaces at children heights, things like that. Like a good one is in bathroom areas with soap dispensers. We're wiping those areas down and I think it's worth talking about this after a nappy change. An area is sanitized again. It is cleaned. It is wiped down after every nappy change, regardless of what's gone on. We clean that area, clean the surface of bodily fluid and things like that.
Yeah, there's actually 2 bottles. So after a standard typical nappy change, there's a lower percentile of bleach used, but if there is a loose bowel motion or any bodily fluids, then the higher bleach
is used. It is, and it is up to the diligence of the teams, and we really back our teams in terms of doing that. So, we really are taking precautions as an organisation. We get steam cleans. If we have regular bowel movements or there's vomiting onto carpets and things, we'll steam clean the carpet. Areas like handles, door handles and things, we're wiping down. Light switches, we're wiping down. So it just makes sure that we have a chance to really do our best to clean our facilities so that we're not contributing. The other piece, though, and this is the hard piece, and whānau do get frustrated with it, and for that we preemptively say sorry, but you have to keep kids at home, it is a tough one. It is a tough one, but what we're trying to do is stop it and stifle it.
Yeah, I think it's also important to mention, Ray, that we remove the child from the space when any of these symptoms present, so that the ability for it to be contagious is kind of stopped as quickly as we can possibly make it happen in our
quarantined
sectors.
off.
Yeah.
Quarantined off with another staff member.
Yeah.
And even that staff member's at risk, but they sit with a mask on and things. But, it is those sorts of situations.
Absolutely.
I think, look, ultimately, it is a dicey area. It is a hard area for us as a provider. But it is a necessary area. And I think... again, I certainly believe it's heightened post COVID.
Yeah, definitely.
The lockdowns.
But there's also more illnesses because of it, I think, which has made it really hard for whānau and for teachers and for children. I mean, across the board, it's made it hard for everybody involved.
Yes. Okay, well, yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. I mean, I think that's enough information, but it does give us that. So just a reminder, Fill the Gap is going to be entirely dedicated to trying to address the grey in our sector and utilising not only Lauren, but we'll use our as many people as we can who are really passionate about this area. So I think it's a good start in terms of us trying to support the sector, and it allows us to just take out the guesswork from this. Okay, thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.